Kicking off our list at number 10 is Florian Wirtz. How do you go from the Bundesliga Player of the Season to a whopping £116 million question mark in just 4 months? At the start of the campaign, he was struggling with the pace, the quick decision-making in front of goal, and the physical demands of the Premier League. He received a lot of criticism for his performances. Surely this was not the output you would expect from your number 10. The only positive aspect of his game was the distance he covered. The poor guy was basically just doing cardio sessions. He arrived with the confidence that he was going to make an immediate impact, and why wouldn't he? He'd already achieved everything in Germany. But the intensity was quite different in the Prem, and that fact started to show in games against Leeds and Brentford. Even Slot admitted in an interview that Wirtz was feeling the strain. He was cramping up by the 85th minute and had to be subbed off.
It wasn't an injury, it was a welcome to the Premier League. It was after 85 minutes. I don't think he knew that he could have cramp in so many different places. And that's what happened.
You see, at Liverpool, Slot demands a lot. Constant pressing, tracking back, and winning individual duels. The effort Wirtz was putting in defensively was affecting him offensively. His sharpness was off, and his legs were gone each time Liverpool recovered the ball. The offensive output was even more frustrating. One game after another went by without him registering anything, and as always, the internet caught up. He was branded Agent 007, 0 goals, 0 assists, 7 games. And it didn't stop there. He went 22 games without any contributions. Just to top it all off, he finally scored in a game against Sunderland. You would think the pressure was over, but they ended up awarding the goal as an own goal to the Sunderland defender. Every game felt like mental warfare. He was becoming underutilized, and each time he tried to get more involved, he ended up out of position in critical moments. The defense was getting highly exposed, which meant he had to play it safe. That might be alright for a squad player, but it wasn't what the fans expected from a $116 million star signing. This all changed after the Wolves game, where he bagged his first goal at Anfield. Finally, the intense pressure was off. He opened up, admitting it was a special moment and acknowledging how tough the league was. Wirtz was now playing with confidence. The numbers started improving, and his link-up play with Ekitike started paying off. Then came the Newcastle game. Liverpool were trailing, as usual, until a moment of brilliance from Wirtz set up Ekitike for the equalizer. Just moments later, he wrapped it up with a goal. The talk of his price tag was gone. No more Ben 10 memes. The fans were starting to enjoy watching him play. He's currently picking up form in the second half of the season, averaging a 7.2 rating and 7 goal contributions in 29 matches. But he isn't out of the woods yet. He's starting to show a bit of consistency, and with time, we might finally see his full potential.
54 goals in 52 games, that was the lethal weapon Sporting CP promised Arsenal for £64 million. But after arriving in North London, the goal machine didn't just slow down, it stopped. With only 1 goal from open play in his first 15 appearances, and having been labeled statistically one of the worst strikers in the league by some outlets, 9th on our list of Premier League flops is Viktor Gyökeres. At one point, the top scorer across Europe, this season he has been nowhere near the list of elite strikers.
Goal-scoring ratio is better than any striker right now in Europe.
It was anticipated, but not at that level. Gyökeres has been among the most tightly marked strikers this season, which comes as no shock having come to England with such a big reputation. Premier League center-backs are more physical and quicker, neutralizing his strengths. He's known for his physicality and pace, but in every game he seems equally matched. In truth, Gyökeres' hold-up play and ball retention aren't good enough. In most instances when Arsenal are pressed, the ball goes long. As a 9, it's your duty to hold it up and free a teammate, but his first touch under pressure lets him down, leading to an opposition defender recovering the ball.
That's Gyökeres. There's no way right now that the defender should catch you. Now, that ball has to go here. There's no way that those guys should catch you. if you take care of the ball properly. But that first touch is not going to be good. Look at how he's gonna go like this. He didn't take the ball well here, nor there. Let it go. Next thing you know, there is no way he should have had a 1v1. You miss.
Technically, he isn't a maestro on the ball. He's more of a traditional 9 who likes to make runs and attack crosses. Arsenal, however, play a different style. They look to control the game and pin the opposition back. Unlike at Sporting, where Gyökeres made deep runs behind the defense or could turn and run at the backline if given space, he doesn't have that same freedom here. At Sporting, he received a lot of supply thanks to their system. With wingbacks delivering early balls into the box, it was like watching the same technique on repeat. For Arsenal, the wingers hold up play longer than usual, which kills any type of advantage he might have. We've seen this time and again with him and Saka. You could say he's been a passenger in games, touching his hair more often than the ball. You could argue the team is the problem, but they've been trying to feed him with through balls. Arsenal lead the league in through balls per 90. Yet whenever he gets to run in behind, the defenders, being at a higher level than the Portuguese league, swarm around him. Most of the time, he's forced to recycle the ball rather than create a goal-scoring opportunity. It doesn't get any easier knowing that if you're not performing, 2 other players can step in. With Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus being way more technical than him, the competition is fierce. In some regards, the team plays better when he starts, as his tight marking frees up players like Rice and Odegaard to have a shot or create a moment of magic. But despite being decent for the club, his level is nowhere near what was expected. Scoring just a fraction of what he tallied last season, Arsenal needed a star, someone who could carry the team when the pressure was on. Instead, he has been miles away from everyone's expectations.
At number 8 is Milos Kerkez, a £50 million signing whose performances for the Cherries led to him being recognized as one of the brightest young left-backs. With 7 goal contributions for Bournemouth, Kerkez acted as an extra attacker, combining with his relentless work rate in both attack and defense. Liverpool went big and signed the Hungarian fullback. Starting almost every game at the beginning of the campaign, but quickly raised eyebrows with a rashness that destabilized the Liverpool backline. He was diving into tackles he couldn't win and gifting the opposition crucial set plays. You see, early in the season, teams found a blueprint to break down Liverpool. Long throws and free kicks became a weapon, exploiting the fact that Liverpool's new fullbacks were shorter and easier to target areas.
If the other team wins more duels, more second balls than you, especially if that is also something they are playing off, they took the game again with long throw-ins and set pieces. That should never be seen as an excuse.
Don't get me wrong, Kerkez is a brilliant fullback, something he proved at Bournemouth with high chance creation and constant overlapping runs. He is aggressive in the press, stays tight to his man, and wins plenty of duels. But that style of play walks a fine line. He runs a real risk of conceding fouls and heaping pressure back onto his side. His offensive nature hurt Liverpool against teams like Brentford and Sunderland, who opened them up easily every time they recovered possession deep in their own half. Opponents specifically targeted Kerkez's wing. A fine example was the game against his former club, Bournemouth, where they were playing long and specifically target Kerkez's side. He lost most of the aerial duels against Semenyo, and despite having won the game, signs were starting to show in Liverpool's defense. He simply wasn't at his best. His decision-making was off, crossing when he should have recycled possession, lunging into tackles high up the pitch. He was struggling to adapt in a side that was already going through a mentally testing time. Liverpool needed stability, and that simply wasn't his strong suit. With Robertson now starting plenty of games, it begs the question, was he really the perfect replacement?
Where do you see the promise in the squad? Like, you look at their squad now, you look at Garnacho.
They don't depend only on the talent. It's more than that.
Garnacho is one of the most confusing players I have ever seen. One moment he's scoring bangers, the next he's looking like prime Nicholas Jackson. He was once a brilliant performer for the Reds and on his way to becoming a United superstar. But then the narrative changed. His ego grew bigger than the club.
Pundits claimed he cared more about his individual success than the team's performance.
Garnacho leaving leaving Manchester United this summer.
You listen from one side and they go away from another side.
There was even speculation of him attempting to sabotage his own team, with reports surfacing that someone was leaking dressing room information to Twitter. Fans even started calling him Subject 49 after claims from his brother that he would receive the number 7 shirt. At his new club, Chelsea, Maresca often started him ahead of Gittens, but by the end of January, he had only provided a single goal. With the departure of Maresca came Liam Rosenior, who was more fixated on discipline, considering the squad was collecting a lot of red cards. He often limited the use of wingers, with the system focusing on midfield domination, which was damaging to Garnacho's minutes. It was a test for the player, having been benched in most games, to see if he would fall off or put more effort into training. There have been flashes of the old Garnacho, like in the Aston Villa game, but his decision-making and finishing have been by no means enough to justify his price tag. At times, he takes a shot when his teammates are in a better position, or dribbles into a crowded area only to lose possession. Actions like this make Chelsea look toothless in front of goal, and given their current run of form with Rosenior sacked, it's going to be even harder with Estevao and Neto ahead of him. It's easy to forget that despite his form, he is a player whose work rate is overlooked. He's the kind of player you give the ball to in the 80th minute and he'll still run at the defense non-stop. These guys really like signing athletes. But in all fairness, for a price tag of $50 million, just 1 goal and 4 assists in 23 games isn't justified. Coming in strong at number 6 is a player who is fast becoming the Premier League's most expensive tourist, Jadon Sancho. Manchester United sent him out on loan for the 3rd time this summer, but the real bottom line came from Chelsea. They actually paid a penalty fee just to get out of the obligation to buy him, so he packed his bags for Aston Villa, where he has continued to master the art of being completely ineffective. Villa reportedly agreed to cover 80% of his insane £350,000 a week wage, and what a return on investment that has been. We're talking about a guy who went 15 games without recording a single goal involvement. In fact, across 21 matches this season, he has 0 goals and just 2 assists. His XG sits at an average of 0.01. I'm pretty sure Donnarumma has a higher XG by just scoring own goals. Sure, there was that lively performance against Chelsea, but the hunger he showed at Dortmund feels like a distant memory. Unai Emery noted that Sancho simply isn't fit enough to play full matches, but the reality hit a new low when he suffered the humiliation of being subbed on and then subbed off again during the win over Man City. Try explaining that one to Roy Keane. Sancho lost to Chelsea, with critics rightfully calling his behavior as unprofessional. With his value tanking to just £17 million and his United contract expiring in 6 months, time is running out. Unless he finds that lost spark immediately, he will end up as a free agent and not playing in the Premier League next season. At number 5 on our rankings is Jamie Gittens. Chelsea thought they were getting the next big thing from Dortmund, a winger surrounded by hype, known for his pace and quick feet in one-on-ones. But instead, they might have ended up with a classic Murata. At the start of the season, Gittens found it hard to make an impact in matches, cheaply losing possession and missing key passes. Small details like these were really frustrating the fans and the manager. He struggled to adapt in his first few games. There seemed to be a lack of confidence in the way he played, and as we came to expect, he was benched for Garnacho and Neto. Honestly, for the price they paid, they could have bought a bigger bus. Sure, he's been underperforming, but in a real sense, it has been a nightmare year for the youngster. Just days after returning to full training, club doctors confirmed he has suffered another setback, a hamstring injury that will sideline him for at least 6 weeks, with a return expected in early May. This is a cruel twist of fate for a player who worked hard through rehab, only for the familiar pain to return during a simple drill. Fans are getting impatient. They have watched him miss huge chunks of the campaign, reacting with a mix of sympathy while others grow restless on social media. His talent is undeniable, but these injuries are truly relentless. He's the kind of player who's going to need time to develop and adapt. There's no doubt Gittens has the pace and trickery to light up the bridge, but until his body holds up, he remains a what-could-have-been signing. At fourth on our list of underperformers is Newcastle's Anthony Elanga. With a 6.39 rating, 0 goals, and just 1 assist in 29 league appearances, he currently ranks among the bottom 1% in successful take-ons per 90. It might suggest he wasn't brought in as a quick fix for the right side of Newcastle's attack, but rather as a long-term project. So what exactly went wrong?
The numbers are like staggeringly bad. He's in the bottom 1% for take-ons in the Premier League this season of all the wingers. The bottom 1%.
This is a shadow of the Elanga we saw last season, who was ripping it up for Nottingham Forest with 70. At some point, he has to take responsibility for his performances, though you could argue that 11 starts isn't enough to build a rhythm, especially with Jacob Murphy clearly being the manager's preferred starter. At the moment, his confidence looks really low. His simple passing has been off, his crossing is often overhit, and his shot conversion speaks for itself. We did see a glimpse of his true strengths in the second leg against Barcelona, where he bagged 2 brilliant goals from straight counters. It was a reminder of how effective he can be when played to his strengths. Players like Hall and Gordon have also been through this same difficult adaptation period, and Eddie Howe is a manager whose philosophy takes time to understand. He is pushing for the fans to give him support, but still, £55 million is a massive fee, and we can't hide from the fact it seems they left goal scoring outside the transfer clause. If we compare his shot maps from this season to last, the key difference is his positioning. He is often forced onto his weaker foot and isn't finding the right spaces when it matters. A change in position, or maybe a tweak in the team's style of play, could be vital if he is to be part of this Newcastle team in the long run.
Easily the best young striker in the Premier League right now. A battering ram, a throwback striker who can do pretty much anything. He runs at people, he's aggressive, he's two-footed, he takes the early.
At number 3 is Chelsea's number 9.5, Liam Delap, currently having an unreal season.
Just sliding it through. Big touch.
With a 6.3 rating and just 1 goal in 25 appearances, Liam Delap has gone under the radar, having been signed for £30 million from Ipswich Town. He is a player who has looked consistently out of position this season. Fans have been crying out, labeling him a terrible signing and a massive headache. While his biggest strength is supposedly his hold-up play, the end product has been highly lacking. Then came a head-to-head against Hull City in the 4th round of the FA Cup, where despite assisting his teammates, he still received harsh criticism from the press. Liam Delap has not had a good 4 minutes. He has given it away twice and missed a sitter. Delap has been poor, and he has been given the opportunity tonight. Delap looks very lazy. His performances have to improve. Delap later tried to explain the incident to the BBC reporter, saying,
I thought it went in, and then obviously I was waiting for the ref to blow his whistle. Obviously I should have just put it in a second time, but yeah, crazy.
In reality, Delap is a young player making the massive leap from Ipswich Town to Chelsea. The two teams play in very different ways, and he has struggled to adapt to that transition. Long-term injuries haven't helped his cause this season either, picking up a hamstring injury in August, sidelining him for 2 months. Chelsea are hardly going to come out and say, "We've given up on Delap, he's not good enough," are they? I'm sure they are concerned deep down, but let's see how the rest of the season goes for him. Maybe a loan in the summer might be the best route forward. In terms of his shooting, he is really missing chances. Even when he manages to get a shot on target, it lacks power. You really cannot expect to win titles when your striker is this unproductive. Ranked as the second biggest underperformer on our list, Isak's season has been a case study in frustration. When a club breaks its transfer record to sign a player, they aren't just paying for talent, they're paying for immediate impact, goals, individual brilliance. For Alexander Isak, that price tag of £150 million was a weight on his shoulder. The output just don't add up for a striker of his caliber. An average match rating of 6.4 tells the story of a player struggling to impose himself, but the in-game metrics are even more frustrating. For a forward competing in the Premier League, winning aerial battles is essential for thriving. Yet Isak has won just 21% of his aerial duels in comparison to Premier League strikers. His contribution to the build-up has significantly dropped. With a chance creation rate of just 12%, he has become a passenger in games rather than the target man. The versatility and lethal finishing that defined him at Newcastle has been nowhere near. We know he has the pace and he has the dribbling, but the final product, a finish, a key pass, has been desperately low. Of course, context is key. Isak's campaign was ruined before it began. A fractured fibula and ankle ligament damage sidelined him for 4 crucial months. Just as he prepares to ignite his season, his bad luck catches up to him. Since his rise to top-flight football, injuries have always been a big hindrance to his career, and despite this, Liverpool were willing to take the big risk. But the physical toll was only half the issue. Slot's tactics shifted in his absence. The club moved to sign Hugo Ekitike for $79 million, a player who arrived with a full preseason behind him and decent form in front of goal. Ekitike took the opportunity and ran riot. As a result, Isak has found himself starved of game time. For a striker, rhythm is everything, and without consistent minutes, consistency in performance is impossible. He is now playing catch-up in a team that already has 2 players in that position. The title of flop is just harsh, but for a player costing $150 million, it is currently justified. The gap between his potential and his reality is huge. However, this story isn't over. He is returning to fitness, and the expectations remain high. If he can rediscover his best form, this bad start will be forgotten. But until he does, Isak remains one of the most expensive gambles in Premier League history that's yet to pay off. And so we arrive at the summit, the #1 spot on our list of Premier League flops. It's a name that carried high expectations, but has delivered an unforgettable season still in play.
What it was with 12 players in the pitch, amazing, incredible point we take here, deserving.
Randal Kolo Muani. Looking at the numbers, it's a horror show for a striker. Kolo Muani drew a blank in his first 19 Premier League matches. To put that into perspective, across 25 total appearances, he's managed to bag just 1 goal. It has been, in every sense, a real Tottenham performance. Ironically, his European form has offered a glimmer of hope, with 4 goals, highlighting that the talent comes alive each time he plays his former side. But in the domestic league, he's been invisible. In comparison to other strikers, he averages 6% in shot attempts. Yet flip the coin and you see an 82% rate in chance creation and a massive 87% defensive contribution. With stats like that, you might mistake him for a right back. This begs the question, is he being properly utilized? The tactical demands from managers like Thomas Frank and Igor Tudor have seemingly pinned him, limiting his ability to cause any sort of trouble in the opposition box. Let's not forget, Kolo Muani is a hybrid-type striker. He has spent much of his career being shuffled to the flanks during his time at Frankfurt and Juventus. Randal Kolo Muani built his reputation on an amazing season in the 2023-2024 Bundesliga season, with 15 goals and 11 assists, which lured PSG to come calling with a massive transfer fee of around 76 million euros. He was decent in Paris, but it never really worked out the way he wanted. So he took his talent to Juventus last season, giving a decent shift and looking promising with his blistering pace and agility. That promise convinced him to make a loan move to Tottenham, but unfortunately at Spurs, it just hasn't clicked. I would honestly say he's become one of the most unlucky guys in front of goal. We watch the chances fall to him, the opportunity is there, but somehow he always seems to miss. He currently holds a 6.3 average rating, a score that reflects a player struggling to find his footing. Coming in with relatively little hype compared to his price tag, you would expect the pressure to be lower, but something is definitely not working.
Given the horrific injury list Tottenham has suffered this season, you would have thought this was his golden opportunity for game time, but it has been of no benefit in that regard. Right now, Tottenham are in one really big mess, and if they are to save the club from the biggest humiliation in their history, they are going to need players exactly like him to step up. But for now, he sits firmly as the biggest flop of the season. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.